Mary River Cod. Imagine a river before roads. Imagine a river before roads, before dams, before maps. A river that moved freely through rainforest and woodland, rising and falling with the seasons, carrying stories older than memory. This is the Mary River, and within its deep pools once lived a giant. An ancient freshwater predator, powerful, elusive, and uniquely Australian. This is the story of the Mary River Cod. An ancient lineage. The Mary River Cod is not a recent arrival. Its story begins millions of years ago when Australia was still drifting northward, slowly separating from Antarctica. The ancestors of today's cod were marine fish, living in coastal waters. Over vast stretches of time, some populations moved inland, following river systems that cut into the continent. As sea levels changed and rivers shifted, these fish adapted to freshwater life. Through isolation and evolution, they became something new. The Mary River Cod belongs to the genus Maccullochella, Australia's freshwater cods. This lineage split from its relatives during ancient climatic and geological events, eventually forming a species found nowhere else on Earth. Unlike fast-growing fish, Mary River Cod evolved a strategy of patience. Long life, slow growth, late maturity, they became apex predators, dominating their river systems not through speed, but through strength, camouflage, and ambush. In healthy rivers, they could live for decades. Some early records suggest individuals grew over a meter long and weighed more than 30 kilograms. They were the kings of the river. Life in the river. Mary River Cod are creatures of place. They do not roam endlessly. Instead, they claim territories, deep holes shaded by overhanging banks, tree roots, and fallen logs. These features are not obstacles, they are essential habitat. A submerged log provides shelter from floods, protection from predators, stable water temperature, and crucially, a place to breed. During most of the year, cod are solitary and secretive. They rest during the day and hunt at night, feeding on fish, crustaceans, frogs, and anything else they can overpower. But when the seasons shift, the river sends a signal. Breeding and the pulse of the river. Breeding begins when spring warms the water. As temperatures rise above around 20 degrees Celsius, adult cod become restless. They move through the river, sometimes traveling many kilometers, searching for the right nesting site. The female lays thousands of eggs inside a protected hollow, a submerged log, a root cavity, or a rock crevice. Then something remarkable happens. The male stays. He guards the nest fiercely, fanning the eggs to keep them oxygenated, chasing away predators, and remaining with the hatchlings even after they emerge. This level of parental care is rare among fish, and it makes the species vulnerable, because if that nest fails, if the log is removed, if sediment fills the cavity, if water temperatures spike or flows drop, an entire breeding season can be lost, and for a slow-growing species like the Mary River Cod, that loss is profound. Indigenous connections to river and fish. Long before European settlement, Aboriginal peoples lived alongside the Mary River for thousands of generations. The river was not just water, it was country, a living system with law, story, and responsibility. While specific recorded dreaming stories about the Mary River Cod are limited in written sources, across eastern Australia, large freshwater fish, like cod, are deeply embedded in Indigenous knowledge systems. In the Murray River, for example, the Ngarrindjeri people tell the story of Ponde, the great cod ancestor whose movements shaped the river itself. These stories teach respect, that rivers are not resources to be extracted, but relatives to be cared for. Fish were taken carefully, seasonally, and sustainably. The balance held. European settlement and change. Everything changed in the 1800s. European settlers arrived with new tools, new values, and a desire to reshape the land. The Mary River Cod was abundant, so abundant that early settlers caught them easily. They were eaten, sold, or fed to livestock. But fishing was only the beginning. Rivers were cleared of snags because logs were seen as hazards to boats and floods. Riparian forests were removed for farming and grazing. Cattle trampled riverbanks, increasing erosion. Dams and weirs were built, blocking fish movement and fragmenting populations. Slowly, silently, the river changed, and the cod began to disappear. Collapse and decline. By the mid-20th century, Mary River Cod were becoming rare. Overfishing removed large breeding adults. Habitat loss destroyed nesting sites. Barriers isolated populations into small, disconnected pockets. By the 1980s and 90s, scientists estimated fewer than 600 individuals remained in the wild. In some rivers, the cod was gone entirely. In recent years, sooty grunter has been illegally introduced to the Mary River. This highly aggressive native fish from North Queensland has now become established in the Mary River and is competing with Mary River cod for food, space, as well as potentially predating on juvenile cod. The sooty grunter could well be the nail in the coffin for the cod in the Mary River. Only time will tell. A species that had survived ice ages and continental drift could well be facing extinction within a single human lifetime. Recognition and a turning point. In 1993, scientists formally described the Mary River cod as its own species. This mattered. It meant the fish was not just a local variant, it was a unique evolutionary lineage. Soon after, it was listed as endangered under Australian law. For the first time, the species had legal protection and a chance. Recovery efforts. Recovery has not been simple, because you cannot save a river fish without saving the river itself. Efforts include captive breeding programs, producing fingerlings for release, habitat restoration, including re-snagging rivers, artificial cod logs designed to mimic natural breeding sites, fishways, allowing cod to bypass dams and weirs, community involvement, especially recreational anglers, reporting sightings and protecting breeding fish. In the Brisbane River catchment where local cod species were lost, Mary River cod have been reintroduced to restore the role of an apex predator. For the first time in decades, cod are once again moving upstream, breeding in restored habitats and reclaiming sections of their former range. Challenges ahead. Recovery remains fragile. Cod mature slowly, populations are still small, extreme floods, droughts, and climate change threaten progress, but the difference now is knowledge. We understand what this species needs: shade, structure, clean water, connection, and perhaps most importantly, time. Summary. The Mary River cod is more than a fish. It is a survivor from deep time, a living symbol of river health, a reminder that what we remove, we must one day restore. If we listen carefully, the river still tells its story, in the shadows beneath fallen logs, in the quiet movement of a giant returning home. The song of the Mary River is not finished yet.